USPBL Baseball presented by Happy Tales Learning Center for Dogs here today. We welcome you outside Jimmy John's Field. What a beautiful day for baseball in downtown Utica. Really looking forward to another matchup here today. It's the Westside Woolly Mammoths playing for the second day in a row as they host the home Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers here today. Jeremy Otto alongside Jason Ross Jr. again to bring you the call here today. We've had a lot of storylines throughout this first opening weekend. This is game 3. Almost too many to talk about, huh?
That's certainly true, Jeremy. It's been fun to watch so far. Last night we saw the Diamond Hoppers close out a 3-2 win over the Woolly Mammoths. Ty Tracy, the right-hander, went for the Diamond Hoppers, set the bullpen up very nicely with 5 innings pitched, only allowed 1 earned run. The interesting part of that outing, Jeremy, and you pointed it out throughout the broadcast, no strikeouts. It was all about the weak contact, whether it was on the ground or in the air. He set up the bullpen very nicely. Adrian Cook, one of the hardest throwing right-handers that you will see through some of the hardest pitches that we've seen through the first couple of games. Last night was hitting 95, 96 at times. So it was fun to watch that. Now, my other thing from last night was that we had half as many errors as we had hits. There were 5 errors, 10 hits. So who can be the cleaner team today is something I'm looking out for, because last night it was 1 less error for the Diamond Hoppers, and maybe that was the difference in a game of inches. And
something that we've kind of noted throughout the broadcast as well is the quality at bats. I mean, you guys have pushing 2-2 counts, battling in 1-2 counts. It's been impressive so far, given that spring training really isn't that long in this league.
That is certainly true, Jeremy. You look at some of the pitch counts, and they've been getting up pretty high early, and guys have been able to trying to work out of jams, whether that's runners on second and third. But it's, like you said, 2 strike counts, battling. The mentality that we've touched on is don't let the umpire decide your fate. Stay in the batter's box and keep working counts, because the deeper it goes, the more it tends to favor the guy in the box. So that has been neat to watch so far, is the quality at bats.
And today it should be pretty still out there. I mean, we've had some wind blowing in, we've had some wind blowing out. Not a lot of balls hit to the warning track quite yet, but we hope to have that kind of home run chase pick up again this year.
That's true. When it's fun to see the hard contact when it does take place. It's as we noted on opening day, it was a little chillier, so it was all about manufacturing runs. Can you put the ball in play, and maybe something will happen? We talked about the errors as well. It can be a little bunt up the line, and you never know. The throw to first might go away, and then all of a sudden you got runners on second and third. We saw a lot of that yesterday. So whether it's hitting the ball out of the park or just putting it in play with a hip single, you never know what can happen. Good things do happen when you get it in play.
We'll get your starting lineups in just a little bit in a feature story as well. But talking about these Beavers as well, it's a team that played on opening day as the number 2 team, I guess, from last year in terms of losing in the championship to the Utica Unicorns. So that was a rematch, as it always is here on opening day. But A.J. Coleman, it's a guy that we're really looking forward to watching this year. Maybe not, to in tune the way he wanted his start to go, but he battled through.
Yeah, he's just a fun guy to chat with. But 6'8", 6'9", so he definitely stands out when he's walking around the park. He's a guy with a really nice curveball to complement the fastball, changeup as well. We saw that curveball landing for first pitch strikes, and he was locating it on the outside corner, inside corner, didn't matter what count it was. He was going to it and going to it confidently. So that's something I'm looking forward to seeing out of him this year.
Well, somebody that we're really looking forward to watching today is the pitcher on the other side for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. His name, Jackson Hicks. He's a guy who has a really cool story, and I feel like this is kind of a broken record for us, but we're not making these things up. These are things that we get exactly from the players. He's a guy that did not play 1 inning, not even 1 inning, not even on a roster for a college baseball team. He played club baseball at the University of North Carolina, and he has worked himself up to a low 90s fastball.
Yeah, as you mentioned, low 90s fastball there. Speaking with our analytics team this morning, which those guys have been so awesome, they touched on the fact that because you noted the lack of experience at this level of baseball, perhaps there might be some growing pains. So confidence early on, something we pointed out with Austin Dakar the other day, who faced A.J. Coleman. We saw his confidence certainly looking good early on, having not pitched in a while at a high level, and he went out and pitched 3 scoreless innings the other day against the Beavers. So can Hicks perhaps have a start like that where you're inducing maybe some quick ground ball outs, you're getting strikeouts and finding first pitch strikes early on? I think that'll be important for his confidence, given that it's kind of his debut at this level.
And know more about how that's all happened and how he's ended up in professional baseball. It's a pretty cool story, and we look forward to that unfolding as the year goes on as well. Without further ado, it's time for your lineups here today. We're going to take a peek at the visiting Westside Woolly Mammoths first. Leading off for them is the shortstop once again, Keyshawn Lynch. Batting second, the veteran third baseman Ron Williams Jr. Batting third is the left fielder Roy Verdejo. In the cleanup spot today is the right fielder Christian LeBoy. Batting fifth, the center fielder Elijah Salea. Batting sixth is the first baseman Travis McFarland, a guy with some pop in that bat as well. Austin Shoemaker catching behind the dish once again. It probably will be a constant for this Westside team. Collier Rutledge will DH in bat 8, and Matt Collins rounds out the order and plays second base. That was actually for the home Beavers, I apologize. Here is the visiting Mammoths. Leading off is the second baseman Norberto Navarro. Batting second is the left fielder Jalen Smith. Batting third, the first baseman Spencer McGee. Batting cleanup, the right fielder Trevor McKinley. Batting fifth is the third baseman Trey Bickford. Batting sixth is the designated hitter Noah Moore. In the 7-hole here today, the center fielder TK Kuntz. Batting eighth is the catcher Colton Horner, who gets a start here today. And batting ninth is the shortstop Adrian Guzman. So another good lineup here today. There's a number of stories with some guys that, are making it, their debut as we go on as well. But what are you looking for today out of the offense?
Yeah, well, Jeremy, you just touched on the lineups there. Charles Donovan will get the start on the opposite side for the Beavers. He's a left-hander facing a right-handed heavy lineup that the Woolly Mammoths will present, so maybe he can potentially exploit them in that sense. But Donovan, you look at his college numbers at Indiana Tech. ERA in the 2s back in 2019. That was when you could say he was getting his most starts, 14 total. The strikeout numbers really jump out at you. 96 in that 2019 year total. Again, through 14 starts, had a 9-1 record during that time period as well. Some, again, on the side of Hicks, see if he can get off to a good confident start. Same thing for Donovan.
Well, we're encouraging you to submit photos of your dog, whether you're here in the park, because it is Bark in the Park, presented by Happy Tales Learning Center for Dogs. Use the hashtag JJDogs. Again, hashtag JJDogs. And later in the game, you could just see your dog come up on the screen. Do you have a dog or no?
I don't, but I want one. Aussie Shepherds are probably my favorite type of dog. And I'm happy to have, we always have JJ, but he has some friends today. Right? He's got a lot of friends today. So
we'll see how he reacts to that.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of tails wagging here today, not just JJ on the field. Well, we'll have our pitcher comparison when we get back and take a deeper dive into Jason's keys to the game as well. Stick around right here on the USPBL Network.
Stop me now. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time. Having a good time. A shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go. There's no stopping me.
Throughout your life, from big moments to ones well-earned, we're your financial guardian angel. Alliance Catholic Credit Union.
Your neighbors are going to be jealous when they see you're getting a new Connecticut water system. Say goodbye to hard water problems. No more spots on your glassware. Your laundry will feel and smell better. Your hair and skin will look and feel better. Say goodbye to hard water problems and say hello to great tasting crystal clear water with CGC Water.
Getting ready for the Westside Woolly Mammoths and the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers to do battle here today for the first time this season. Today's game is presented by Happy Tales Learning Center for Dogs. And proudly sponsored by the following: our credit union, AAA, Ascension, Balfour Property Restoration, Budweiser, DTE Energy, Jack's Car Wash, Jimmy John's, Macomb Community College, McLaren Macomb, McQuaid Heating and Cooling, your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, Pepsi, Scott's, and UWM. We thank all those fine partners for what they do for the United Shore Professional Baseball League. We'll have Jason the game. Also take a look at our pitching comparison brought to you by Ascension after this right here on the USPBL Network. Stick with us.
There's nothing better than a ball game at Jimmy John's Field and a cold beer from Midland Brewing Company. Hi, I'm Kyle, the head brewer at Midland Brewing Company, here to wish you a stellar time making memories at Jimmy John's Field. And we hope that you're living it up with a Copper Harbor Ale in your cup. You can find more of our selections here at the ballpark and around town at your favorite bottle shops too. We hope you have a ball at the game, and remember, enjoy responsibly. Let's play ball.
New flooring from the Carpet Guys is as easy as 1, 2, free. 1, just call the Carpet Guys for fast, free, and home shopping. 2, get massive warehouse direct savings. And 3, I mean free, as in 4 years of interest-free financing. That's 1, 2, free, but only for a limited time. So be wise and call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS or visit carpetguys.com today.
Be wise, call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS.
Jeremy and Jason back with you here high atop Jimmy John's Field in downtown Utica, Michigan, getting ready for today's game. Time for Jason Ross Jr.'s keys to the game. What do you think?
Well, Jeremy, so far 2 games, and 2 games decided by 1 run here in the summer of Jimmy John's baseball at USPBL. And today I'm looking at the difference there when you compare those games. Yesterday we had half as many errors as we had hits, 5 errors, 10 hits. Now, on the Woolly Mammoths side of things, they were the group that had 1 more error than the Diamond Hoppers and ended up losing that game. So we'll see how things play out when it comes to bouncing back today. But who can play the cleaner game seems to be the difference so far in a game of inches. We saw yesterday's game was wrapped up by a player being out at second base who's the lead runner just by a few inches. So, again, it's a game of inches and hoping to see who can play the cleaner game today.
Time to take a look at our pitcher comparison brought to you by Ascension every game this year as well. It's Charles Donovan and Jackson Hicks here today, Jason.
And a look at Donovan, the left-hander, pitching for the Beavers. Played for Indiana Tech in college. Finished with a 2.33 ERA after 4 years of college ball. 2019 in particular stood out to me, was 9-1 with 14 starts and 96 strikeouts that season, which really jumped out. But he's got the 4-seam. He's got a curve, change, and cutter as well. So he's got a nice mix of pitches to deliver here, and we'll see how he gets started off today. And then on the side of Jackson Hicks for the Woolly Mammoths, a right-hander with some good stuff in the low 90s. He can deliver that fastball, so he's making his debut at a level that he hasn't really experienced so far. So, again, interesting to see how both of these guys start off today.
Game time temperature 68 degrees with a just slight 6-mile-an-hour wind, just barely blowing in, according to the flag in right center field. First pitch, 1:05 p.m., right on target here today at 89, up high. It's Navarro, Smith, and McGee, your Zach Hart Agency three-men due up here in the first, as Navarro will whistle that one back. 1 for 3 the other day with a single and a hit by pitch. And how about the numbers that our fine analytics staff was able to, kind of privy us to, and something we didn't really notice right away. Just 1 strikeout yesterday for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, 14 on the other end. 1-1 pitch is low.
It was interesting to watch the right-hander Ty Tracy go to work. 5 innings, very efficient, but no strikeouts. As you said, it was all about kind of inducing soft contact, whether that was on the ground or in the air.
And to clarify, 14 for the Beavers in the first game, opening day for them.
Again, you mentioned our fine analytics team speaking with Jake, and he noted the fact that Tracy was really moving up and down in the zone with his fastball. Both guys today, that'll be an important pitch to establish early as you find it on the outside corner there to make it a full count.
Here's the 3-2, high and away. So Charles Donovan, in his collegiate season, is a really good pitcher for Indiana Tech, one of the better teams in the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference locally here in the Midwest at a 4.95 ERA this year. His 5th overall year, was able to benefit from the extra year that all the baseball players got in the NAI. We're seeing extra years everywhere along college athletics, really creating an interesting dynamic. And it makes it hard as well for all these up-and-comers, especially in high school, to try to find a spot. We'll see how that shifts as the years go on. Now the 1-0 on the ground to Keyshawn Lynch, has to cut it off to his left. And that's bobbled on the transfer by Matt Collins, but probably didn't have a chance to get the speedy Jalen Smith, so he's on via the fielder's choice.
Kind of jammed him there with the inside pitch. You notice Smith's bat was kind of dangling over the shoulder, dropped down pretty low at the barrel, which when you see that type of batting stance, it can be difficult to catch up to the inside pitch, but he reaches base by way of the fielder choice. However, you get the job done defensively by getting out the lead runner.
Spencer McGee, the 3-hole hitter here today. Trevor McKinley, your Zach Hart Agency man on deck. He'll be followed by Trey Bigford, Noah Moore, TK Kuntz, Colton Horner, and Adrian Guzman here today. This would be a great day to be on that berm out in right field, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. Towels are out. Jeremy, the sounds of the ballpark are a little different today, too. It's Bark at the Park Day.
Yeah, we heard some barks as the
first pitch was pouring in. Little different challenge, but a fun one.
1-1 in there for strike one at 87 with the fastball.
I did end up spotting an Aussie, by the way, Aussie Shepherd. So
did you?
Yeah,
there you go.
Pre-game, that was one of my goals, and found one.
I think the coolest thing I've seen so far today, one of the members of the grounds crew brought his dog, and he had him on a leash as he was spraying down the field before the game. That was cool.
Love it.
1-2 is low with the slurve. He says it's somewhere between a curve and a slurve. It'll range between 73 and 77. Fastball, slurve, changeup, cutter. Cutter's in development, so not quite sure we'll see it here today. But good to see another local product right from around this area in De La Salle High School.
Back-to-back days, again, with pitchers coming out of the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference from their college days. Yesterday we had Donovan Thacker from Madonna.
2-2 is chiseled foul. I'm surprised Indiana Tech hasn't cracked into this league before now, because that's a program perennially that's charging for an NAI World Series bid. They recruit very well.
Good athletic programs all around, from sport to sport at Indiana Tech.
Waiting in another 2-2 and a nice spoil by Spencer McGee. And Jason and I kind of talked about it in the pregame show, how good these at-bats have been so far this year. I mean, we've already seen a 3-2 count here and a 2-2 count in a battle for Spencer McGee, just continually working up those pitch counts. So the hitters came battle-tested, even though they really haven't faced a lot of live pitching, at least on the professional ranks this year. Another good take as the slurve buries down. Or maybe that was a changeup.
The plate discipline nowadays is the key term to go to. Work the count full here with one out and a runner on first. This is where you want to battle.
Ooh, got him leaning. And they will just finish it off at second base. Nice job by Donovan, McFarland, and Matt Collins to finish it off. Actually, that's Keyshawn Lynch from his shortstop position.
Controlling the running game is an equally important aspect of being on the mound. Did well to do so there, and now different situation.
Does that count as a pickle? Because if so, you can get a half-off pickle pizza. It does not, they say in my ear. Okay. I was trying to be liberal with it, so no half-off pizza quite yet. Matt Collins over to first base, and that's over the glove of Travis McFarland. So with one out, that will allow, or two outs, I beg your pardon. One out on the board, but there should be two. McGee will reach at first.
We talked about that in the keys to the game today, Jeremy. Who can play a cleaner game? Yesterday, as you mentioned, there probably should be two outs on the board right now. So multiple times where pitchers maybe thought it was going to be a quick, clean inning, but all of a sudden you're back out on the mound and runner on first, runner on second. Different situations we saw yesterday. Today it's a runner on first with two outs when you think you should maybe be heading to the dugout. So, by the way, have you ever tried pickle pizza?
I have.
Okay.
Yes.
How is it?
Well, it's good. It's not something, it's something that I heard of, and doing the promotion here on the broadcast. Like, I'm not sure about that one, but it's good.
I'm a pretty picky eater, so I'll have to dive into that. Though I do like pickles, though, on, for example, chicken sandwiches.
Sure. Yeah, we brought some in for the whole crew last year at some point, maybe a couple times, actually. Here's the 1-1, lefty on lefty, as McKinley does a good job to foul that off. Donovan kind of looks like a guy that would be tough, especially on a lefty, hides it as he comes through his motion.
Oh, yeah, well, just when he has movement on that pitch initially, it can look like it's just going to come at you and hit you, but then it cuts over the heart of the plate.
1-2 on the ground to Matt Collins. Feeds easily to Keyshawn Lynch. That's a pretty snappy inning for Charles Donovan. Just one mistake behind him with the error to the first baseman, McFarland. Other than that, a good pro debut in the first inning here for Charles Donovan. Well, now time for your sweethearts of the game, sponsored by Thrifty Florists this year. This is a new promotion to the ballpark. Kelsey Estes will hand away some flowers, courtesy of Thrifty Florist here today. Chelsea Estes, a fine member of our team last year, and she'll chime in at points this year as well. Jenna Rose is off today, but she's done great work in the pregame show and the postgame so far. So there you go, your Thrifty Florist sweethearts of the game. Now time for your Jimmy John's Freaky Fast Facts. You ready for these here today?
Oh, yeah.
Did any catch you off guard yesterday?
A little bit. We went to multiple sports.
So there we go. In 1946, It was the first night game at Yankee Stadium. The Senators beat the Yankees 2-1. In 1912, Jackie Matthews has 2 cricket hat tricks in the same day when Australia and South Africa battled. And in 1949, at the French Championships in men's tennis, Frank Parker retains his title. Parker beat fellow American Budge Patty 6-3, 1-6, 6-1, and 6-4. Your Jimmy John's Freaky Fast Facts this year. Last year was Freaky Fast Trivia. Dan Griesbaum Jr., my partner for most of the year, was challenged, and we had a record going for him, and he had a win streak, but you don't have to worry about that this year. We just have to read the facts.
That's true. Just read them, know them. And last night was classic rock night. Jeremy, you happen to know who's singing right now? Dolly Parton? Yep.
Yes, we recently took a vacation over to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So they have a, obviously Dollywood is over in Pigeon Forge. Big fan of the Smoky Mountains. Fun time. We went to Dolly Parton Stampede, actually.
Ooh,
have you ever been there?
I haven't.
Okay.
No, I'll just doubt that. That's my bucket list.
That was fun.
Got a lot of things to add to my bucket list today, Jeremy.
Yeah, a lot of live animals. It's kind of a show type thing, so that was cool.
Okay.
Keyshawn Lynch, Ron Williams Jr., and Roy Verdago, your Zach Hart agency, 3 men due up here in the first inning. They'll face Jackson Hicks, a guy we talked about in the pregame show. Is a nice story. The 6'3", 225-pound right-handed pitcher. This is going to be, I don't want to say his first competitive innings since high school, but he had competitive innings, but they were on the club side in college at UNC. No offers coming out of high school. And I love the quote. He said he hit 150 his junior year, and he said this just isn't the way to go, And it's blunt. It's a realization. He wants to move on, and there he goes. He's zipping his first pitch as a professional in at 91 miles an hour. Some decent spin on it, too, at 2,200, above the major league average for a fastball. This one outside, 1-1. He's another guy that likes to work quickly. Fastball, slash slurve, more of a slurve again for Hicks.
This might be the fastest we've seen a pitcher working so far, Jeremy. And you noted the low 90s fastball. He's got some electric stuff. It can move around a little bit, but this is his first time at this level. And I was, again, talking with our fine analytics team prior to the game. Jake and I had a conversation about the fact that maybe say there's a runner on base, you're not used to guys trying to time you up and steal, so different things to look for. But right now he's in a groove with that fastball.
None of the fastballs have been below 90, and this is a guy in high school that tried to convert to a pitcher his senior year, was throwing 81, 82. Pretty impressive, doing a lot of stuff on his own in terms of refining his craft. And a leadoff walk to Keyshawn Lynch.
He was very passionate about the game. I believe he was the president of the UNC Chapel Hill club baseball team.
We've got a couple guys in the league this year that only played club baseball heading into their professional career. First pitcher, Juan Williams Jr. is skied to right field. Trevor McKinley parks under it, read it right away, and didn't have to move much for the first out. Now it's Roy Verdejo. Roy Verdejo had a walk and a double in his pro debut the other day. That's the guy that's really liked from a bat perspective by his manager. Was scouting Ottawa University at the NAI level when he saw him. And a couple of his teammates as well. All these guys, Verdejo, LeBoy, Salea, are big-time hitters. Not the biggest of guys, so you'd think maybe not as much power, but there is some major pop in this bat. Ed said he watched him one game, he hit a home run. He's like, Then 2 at-bats later, he hit another home run. He's like, okay, this guy can hit.
Yeah. Well, now he gets into a more as.
Good tag, and he got him, but he dropped the baseball. Adrian Guzman, one of the better infielders out there, nearly made a tricky, great play down at second base.
Kind of now with 2 strikes on, you might see more of a simplified approach from Verdejo. But Jerry, you mentioned not the biggest guy in the world, but has some pop in the bat. You think about players like that nowadays. Jose Altuve, Bo Bichette comes to mind with Toronto. Kind of a lot of torque in their swings, and they tend to have good plate coverage. Altuve, one of the smaller guys, but still has really good plate coverage.
That one just flubbed on the first base line. Look at everybody go after it. Good effort by Colton Horner and the pitcher Jackson Hicks and the first baseman Spencer McGee.
We've seen some wonderful plays in the very large foul territory that you likened to Oakland Coliseum yesterday, Jeremy. It's been fun to watch guys ranging over and nice effort on display there.
And I know some people cringe, especially management, when pitchers run like that, but I love it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I think the game is heading towards that way, too. Just playing hard and leaving it all out there showcases how much they want to get to the next level.
Here's the 1-2. Dusted the paint there, and Verdejo sent to the dugout. What a pitch by Jackson Hicks at 91.
And that was beautiful, kind of painting the outside part of the strike zone there. And again, if you can kind of work up and down, if you can work in and out, avoid the barrel of the bat. So we saw a lot of yesterday from Ty Tracy on the Diamond Hopper side of things. Pitches that are outside of the hitter's zone.
Here's Christian LeBoy now, 0 for 4 start to his professional career. A pair of strikeouts, 91 down. Guys, have we seen a fastball lower than 90 here today? We have, maybe one or two. Just one. That's pretty impressive. Ready and ready, the 1-0. Cue ball to Navarro for the second out. Or check that for the third out. A leadoff walk reaches second base. That's it. A fly out, a strikeout, and a ground out. And we are through the first inning of play with no score. Well, we've told you it's Bark in the Park night. And if you're not here at the ballpark, or even if you are watching maybe in the suites or in the stands somewhere, we want you to share your photo with us with the hashtag JJDogs. Again, JJDogs, as you see on the screen there. And there's our very own Jeremiah Hergott with his dog. So we want to see yours, and we'll share them later in the broadcast if you can get them to us in an efficient time around the fifth inning. Matt, back with more after this here on the USPBL Network.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
Attention, Michigan, there is absolutely no need to drive all over town searching for new flooring. When the Carpet Guys will come to your house on your schedule, we'll bring our store to your door so you can shop in the comfort and privacy of your own home. And you'll love our huge selection. Buy right now with interest-free financing for up to 4 years. You can carpet your entire home for as little as $11.99 per month. Let the Carpet Guys take the stress out of buying new flooring. Call for a free in-house shopping experience today.
Be wise, call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS.
Reminder to chime in with us on Facebook and YouTube as you watch this fine baseball league here today and all throughout the games this year. D-Money says, who do you think is going to win? We'll chime in that in a minute. Adam says, go Falcons. That must be a high school or college reference there. Also says, baseball is awesome. It sure is. Eric Thayer says, let's get those bats going, Mammoths. Adam Pollock says, I like this pitcher. Me too. You look good out there. Larry K. Lombardi Chidsey says, go Woolies with a baseball emoji. First pitch is a swing and a miss to Trey Bickford. 5-6-7 due up here in the second inning for the Mammoths. Brought to you by Zach Hart Agency. It's Bickford, Moore, and TK Kuntz. We'll get a first look at TK Kuntz as a professional here today. That one at 79 and fouled back. First inning for Charles Donovan, a leadoff walk after a 2-2 battle in the end. Then a fielder's choice for Jalen Smith. He was cut down trying to steal at second base. The error by McGee and Trevor McKinley recording the last out in the first. Strike three. So each pitcher here today has recorded their first professional strikeout now. Guillermo Mendoza says, greetings from Mexico today, guys. Welcome, Guillermo. There you go. We just keep on adding the, what we had, Germany.
This is second time in 3 days we've had Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Be sure to tell us where you're watching from, especially if you're out of state or international. Maybe you're watching at a cabin somewhere up north. It'd be a perfect day to sit out on the lake. Maybe still a little cold to jump into the water, but you know, the sun's pretty hot.
No, it's not much of a breeze either. It's gorgeous.
1-0 is fouled back. Found out today from Justin Orendev, just kind of chatting before the game, that he's a big beach guy and also is a big surfing guy. That's how he said he kind of built up his strength.
Wow.
1-1 pitch is in for strike two.
One of my favorite pitchers, Daniel Norris, big surfer.
Yeah. Norris has got a lot of good stories.
Oh, yes.
Lived in that van for a while in the offseason. He still do that or no?
I believe he does still have the van, yes. He was out in California this past summer. He's shifted into more of a situational lefty role this season.
Here's the even pitch now. Just didn't get a piece of it, I guess, as it dropped out of the glove of Austin Shoemaker. So back-to-back strikeouts here for Charles Donovan. And you could kind of see this type of inning trending the way he was in the first. Just not able to, fully click, but able to limit the base runners and get his outs via contact. And now he's got his first couple strikeouts.
Yeah, and that previous inning probably should have ended earlier than it did, but that last at-bat was interesting, how he kind of worked him inside, saw more, was crowding the plate a bit more than you normally would. And
first pitch to TK Kuntz. The slurve dives low for strike one. TK Kuntz playing center field here today. Lamar Briggs getting the day off after an 0-for-2 night yesterday. But if you need a hitter in a big spot, you got to think that Briggs or even Carter, who has some power, the two guys on the bench here today, could get lifted. Here's the 1-1. Nice job to lay off the 89-mile-an-hour fastball outside.
That's a good take there. Being able to work yourself into more of a hitter's count. Difference between 1-2, 2-1 is big when it comes to the result of an at-bat.
2-1 golf down the line, and that's going to hook its way foul. Saw that one all the way, just a bit early. A fan watching from Austin, Texas. Joby says Andy Appleby photobombing in the background. There you go. D. Bullard says they're cheering on the Mammoths. And Jackson from Clemens, North Carolina. And there is quite the inning for Charles Donovan. He strikes out the side and shows exactly why his walk-to-strikeout ratio is really, really good in college. 5, 6, 7 coming up for the Beavers against Jackson Hicks. He had quite the inning as well. Most fastballs over 90 or 91. Time to take a peek at our Mr. Muffler Lucky Row. That's Kozak's Mr. Muffler. They're also the fine sponsor of our home runs for a long time on the USPBL network and in the ballpark as well. There's Chelsea S. just kind of showing that lucky row. And soon, Jason, those rows will be full because we will be at full capacity in just a few days, starting kind of turning over the week here on Sunday, so look forward to that. And more on that when we get back here on the USPBL Network.
Whenever my family wants to enjoy the great outdoors, we pack up my Chevy Blazer and go camping in style. It looks great, and with the cargo management system, we can bring all the comforts of home away from home. Plus, with available 4G LTE Wi-Fi, the kids can still stay connected with friends. Thanks to my Blazer, roughing it isn't rough at all.
Lease a 2021 Blazer 2 LT for just $219 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Second inning of action here. Jackson Hicks had a really good finish. Leadoff walk to Keyshawn Lynch, and even then he battled. I mean, there were some close pitches in that one. It was a 3-2 coaxing walk for Lynch. He ended up on second base, but Ron Williams Jr. immediately flew out. Fairly deep fly ball, but McKinley handled it fine. Strikeout looking to Roy Verdejo, and then a ground ball to the second baseman, Norberto Navarro. And that was it for the first inning. These two pitchers locked in. You love to see this type of action here today.
Jeremy, it sounds simple, but you hear most people say a well-located fastball is the best pitch you can throw in baseball. And so far, you noted all the fastballs up above 90 miles per hour coming in from Hicks. When you can locate that fastball, it just naturally gives the hitter less time with which to work. And when you're locating it for strikes, especially down and away, up and down, it's a disruptive pitch.
Elijah Shalea looks at strike one. The center fielder here today, 0 for 3 the other day on opening day. Strike two.
There it is right away, getting strike one, strike two now. Hicks is in the driver's seat here. You don't necessarily need something in the strike zone.
The 0-2 buried into the ground there. Colton Horner getting the start behind the dish here today for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. Saw some time with the Unicorns at the end of the year. This one a little pop fly foul. Look at all those people there. Look at all the blankets. You love to see that. Just lounging. They need to add a pool out.
I was thinking the same
Maybe they
thing.
can tear down some of those trees behind the stage or something.
I thought the exact same thing, Jeremy. Arizona, or that's where they have the pool.
Yeah.
Diamondbacks.
Yep. 1-2 again is spiked. I just saw a picture the other day from somebody I follow on Twitter. It was one of the league broadcasters. I can't remember who it was, but they looked like they had a pretty cool pool in the outfield. There's like a lazy river. Have you ever been on one of those?
I have.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be so perfect here?
That
Just
would be
cut down
sweet.
some of the trees.
Just go down right field, left field,
Right.
to the, from the wiffle ball field to the Chevrolet Pavilion. Maybe a thought for the next ballpark if they do expand, like there's rumors.
Mm-hmm.
Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Mm-hmm.
I know nothing. Seriously, the 2-2 is up high, 3-2. But, we did see that article the other day about the possible expansion of the USPBL, and it's certainly been talked about, and COVID kind of put a pause to that. But things are going well. Fans are back in attendance. Why not bring those talks back up? 3-2 is fouled away. We'll have to ask Andy Appleby about that at some point on a pregame show going forward.
Oh, yeah. No, it's just really fun to watch how this league is galvanized not only the city of Utica, as I believe a fan got a souvenir there, but people around Michigan gravitating towards beautiful, warm days like this one here at Jimmy John Field.
Full count delivery in for strike three. The pitcher's getting that corner here today. Saleha barking, went up and one down here in the second.
It was a nice job from Saleha to battle back from 0-2, but again, if you can find that outside corner, it's a pitch we saw yesterday that was being given by the umpires as well. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Straight up defense, they're pretty spread out in the infield. Both the second baseman and the shortstop deep in their hole. As McFarland looks at a ball down low. Travis McFarland, 3 strikeouts the other day. Did have a sac fly and an RBI. Created one of the 2 runs for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. 1-0 is through the chute for a single. That's the first hit against Jackson Hicks, and actually the first hit of the ball game for either team.
I was wondering when someone would time up one of those pitches. Just did a nice job of seeing the ball well and smacked it into left field through the 5-6 hole.
JJ gets a nice round of applause. You see that attention there?
I did, yes.
Those cheers are going to get even louder.
Not only cheers, but barks for him today.
Yeah, there you go. Do we have any dogs around us here? I haven't really looked around. Maybe some of them are on the berm out there.
Yeah.
We'll have to get the fine camera people on that at some point. Here's the first pitch to Austin Shoemaker. Going to pop it right back towards us. Perched just to the right of that baseball here today. Jeremy Otto alongside Jason Ross Jr. to bring you the call. 68 degrees and couldn't be sunnier. Clear skies to the max.
I can't see a cloud anywhere.
over there, but that's way
over. It's
that's
out
like
of my
Hall Road.
vision.
Good block by Horner, but McFarland is going to take advantage and swipe the bag. Austin Shoemaker, 0 for 2 yesterday with a walk and a run scored. He is going to be the primary catcher for this team. Michael Luker acting as the backup currently, but is also going to play a lot of second base because they want to see what he has there. Horner having a tough time with the pitches in the dirt from Jackson Hicks. Maybe the splitter there.
Yeah, as a base runner, I was watching Harold Reynolds talk about this the other day. Pitches that you expect to be in the dirt, say on 0-2 counts, as soon as that ball hits the dirt, that's when your break should happen to the next base. And seeing some good aggressive base stealing here.
Here's the 2-1. Fastball low at 89. And that's the thing. It seems like the hitters have a pretty good eye today, and they've been frustrated on some of the calls right around there, more so to the righties on the black outside corner. 3-1, same spot, same results, and that's the second walk of the game for Jackson Hicks, which will put runners on the corners with 1 out. Now Collier Rutledge gets a hack at things, had a single. More in the middle of the lineup for Ed Campanella. So a little more adversity here for Hicks in his first professional game. And wow, look at Shoemaker dance off the bag there. He was king with Jackson Hicks. He gave him the stare back. 2-step lead for him now. Swing and a miss at the 188. Talking also to Justin Orndorff yesterday about the outing for Adrian Cook. And on the surface, you'd say he was hit around a little bit, and he didn't maybe necessarily do what he wanted. But Justin said as much. The 0-1 is the slurve in for strike 2. For me, I wanted to see that because I had never really seen him pitch through adversity. Had a pretty good set down, in and out type innings in spring training. And he said he showed a good compete level going down the final outs of that game. Swipe tag on the helmet, and he got him! Navarro showing his skills. Boy, do they like this middle of the infield. Norberto Navarro, Adrian Guzman, both have quick hands. Both can field it slickly. That's another case right there for the second out of the inning, and a huge one for Jackson Hicks and company.
It's a beautiful showcase of athleticism, and like you mentioned, a big out for Jackson Hicks.
Now the 1-2, just tapped foul. Matt Collins, your Zach Hart agency man on deck, eagerly waiting the start of his pro career at the plate. He was on the bench yesterday for Taylor Jellikowski and John Dombrowski, the Rangers this year. Stepping off is Rutledge. Everybody straight up and back with 2 outs here. Now the 1-2. Boy, he's hitting that spot. They're just not going after it or getting called, at least here in this home half of the second.
Rutledge is a guy with good plate discipline, loves to study Mike Trout.
2-2 checked his swing, but then punched out there. A really good job by Hicks to reel it in when things started to get hairy. First and third with 1 out. Horner able to throw out the runner going to second base, and the strikeout to Rutledge ends the threat here in the second. We're still scoreless here at Jimmy John's Field. Back with more after this on the USPBL Network.
Want to hit your home cleanup project out of the park? While making sure that your driveway is safe from damage, rent a rubber-wheeled trailer from GFL and keep all of your bases covered. Our trailers come in 20 and 30-yard sizes for all your cleanup needs. Call GFL today to order your driveway safe rubber wheel trailer. Team GFL, helping you win your cleanup project.
Bark in the park here today. Here's one of the happy felines in attendance. You missed some of his or hers tricks, but they did a nice job out there.
Looks like an Aussie Shepherd, I believe.
Good stuff. Today's game presented by Happy Tales Learning Center for Dogs. And if you don't know, that's who trained JJ.
Ah.
Pretty local, not too far from the ballpark. We interviewed JJ's trainer last year on the air here. Maybe we can get to do that some point again this year. Remind you can chime in with us on the chat section on Facebook and YouTube. We appreciate everyone watching. And a reminder to like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube so you know exactly when we're on the air. Hopefully you don't get sick of us by the middle of the summer, but we'll try our best to make sure that's not a thing. Charles Donovan back out for his third inning of work. Good in the first, but really polished in the second as he struck out the side with fair ease. Bigford, Moore, and Kuntz, 5, 6, 7 in the order going down.
You love to see a guy settle in the second inning, but now a second trip through the order. How does he fare as the hitters may begin to adjust?
891 brought to you by Zach Hart Agency. It's Colton Horner, Adrian Guzman, and Norberto Navarro. 16 at-bats last year for Horner in a Unicorns uniform. Got 4 hits, including a double. Came over from the Pecos League last year. And he was actually about to go back to the Pecos League before Taylor Jellikowski, his co-manager, texted him and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm about to go to the Pecos League." And he said, "Nope, you want to come here?"
A really good season as well in the Pecos League with the Roswell Invaders. 14 extra base hits, 28 RBI.
And 29 games played for them. Good number of walks, 24 to 16 strikeouts. The 1-2. Fouled it back. The slurve once again there. Awaiting the 1-2 again on the ground to Lynch for the first down. And that's now 5 straight outs for Charles Donovan going back to the first inning. Jackson Hicks had a little bit of traffic on the base pass in the previous inning, but able to work out of it nicely thanks to some good defensive plays as well. And we kind of said what was going to crack here today. You know, we've seen good hitting, but we've also seen some not so great defense. 5 combined errors yesterday in the game between the Mammoths and Hoppers. And they've cleaned things up a bit here today. There is 1 error on the board, but that was to the first baseman, McFarland. Adrian Guzman looks at ball 1, the shortstop once again here today. A walk and a single, including an RBI yesterday, and is going to float this one in to right center field. Nice piece of hitting for Adrian. That's also the first hit against Charles Donovan, so a flash of a no-hitter through 2.
That was a good approach there. Delivered it to right center. If you have a runner on base, that's a spot where you love to hit the ball.
There is some preliminary action, just light throwing going on in the Beavers bullpen right now. Something to keep in mind. Donovan is a guy who threw 60 innings this year in college, so it's not like he can't be stretched out. Maybe he has to be watched a bit closer in other ways. That's Cole Gidley getting some time in. It's believed that Godfrey, Stanton, Gidley, and Cuevas are available here today for the Beavers. A.J. Coleman, obviously the start of the other day, will not throw here today. Malik Barrington might, but doubtful. Barrington looked pretty good out there in his short time of work out of the bullpen as well.
It's warmed up a bit for the Jacksonville native.
Yeah. Still probably not to the level that he's used to, but,
yeah.
you know, the sun makes it feel hotter than it is.
Not dealing with the same shadows that they had yesterday evening.
You never know whether to go with the shorts or the long pants these time of year, because literally when you're in the corners of the ballpark here with no sun, it's like, yeah, I need a sweater.
Right.
But when you're out on the field, I'm sweating now.
It's like two different climates.
Yep. And you add another climate, the press box, usually pretty cool in the summer. And the heat was on just 2 days ago. Hopefully they've turned that off for the year, at least until September. We're talking about playoffs. Here's the 2-1 to Navarro. Fly ball to center field. Salea had a good read. That's going to be the second out of the inning. So Norberto now 0 for 1. He had a walk in his first at-bat. And now Jalen Smith will look to generate something offensively here with 2 outs. You know, there's something to be said. I know all the baseball fans in the world don't seem to like it, but a nice pitcher's duel, 2 guys that work fast. Donovan slowed down a bit with the runner on first base. This one cued to Lynch. Just picks it off his shoe tops for the third out of the inning. Nothing becomes of the 1-out single here in the third. That last out brought to you by Fifth Third Bank. So Charles Donovan, ground out, single, fly out, line out. The line here in the third after the struck out the side in the third. Now time for JJ the Waterboy here today. Presented by Michigan First Credit Union. Going to give our base pass umpire some much needed water out there. And then he's going to pick up the Frisbee game and show off in front of all the other dogs here today. This is what I can do. And I can also be on the field and you can't. Mike Spardog on YouTube says, it's so awesome to see baseball back at the corner of Utica and Auburn and see faces in the stands. Can't wait until next weekend when the stadium returns to full capacity. Ditto, that's going to be fun. Lynette Velasquez says, go Beavers. Let's go T, or number 22. You can chime in with us both on the chat sections of YouTube and Facebook. And here's your DTE Energy Kid Race, the mascot. And look at that, the mascot is out in front. You don't see this. Buzz turning around, and what's he doing? Rattled over at the third base bag. This young man racing back to home plate. Buzz trying to catch up from behind, but no luck. Buzz blew it down the third base line, Jason.
Oh, Buzz, you got to run a little harder down that third base line.
JJ in midseason form, though, on the other end. Again, JJ the Water Boy, brought to you by Michigan First Credit Union. The final out of the top of the third inning was sponsored by Fifth Third Bank. Today's game is presented by Happy Tales Learning Center for Dogs. Good job by Donovan to get out of the one base runner, his first hit that he surrendered. Hicks surrendered his first hit 6 batters in. That was to Travis McFarland. He reached third, and then Shoemaker directly after that walked with 1 out. Really nice tag in the helmet on the thread onto second base by Horner to Norberto Navarro for the second out, and the strikeout looking to Collier Rutledge. Boy, Hicks catches right back on the rubber and wants to throw as he waits for the sign. The 90-mile-an-hour fastball is outside. Here's the even pitch now.
Yeah, how quickly he's working. As a catcher, you have to be ready. The guys behind him have to be ready. But it's fun to play defense behind a guy who works rhythmically like that, throwing a pitch under every 15 seconds or so.
Hitter doesn't love it.
Yeah.
The 2-1 pitch is fouled back to the screen.
And Jeremy, prior to the break, you mentioned how fun it is to watch a pitcher's duel. I would have to agree with you on that. I like watching the art of pitching. It's all about disrupting the timing of the hitter.
Waiting in the 2-2 again. A nice battle here. Great slurve that had late bite to it.
Yeah, and that's right there, right on cue. It's hitting is timing, pitching is the art of disrupting that timing. And when you can throw a slurve like that, compare it with his 91-mile-per-hour fastball, that's when you start to add and subtract with your velocity and locate your pitches as well. Leads to success.
First pitch to Keyshawn Lynch. Fouls a 90-mile-an-hour straight high fastball back to the screen here.
There you go, late on that elevated velocity, which has kind of become the trend in baseball of late. As a hitter, you don't want to see anything climbing up on you or darting around.
Here's the 0-1. Ooh, overthrew it. Opened up. Still in there at 91.
I've seen that a couple of times so far today. Luckily, there was no one on base that time around.
Low, 2-1.
Doing a nice job of changing eye levels, too. So I'm going to start off this at-bat up. And he goes outside now, kind of low in the zone, but more of a hitter's count here at 2-1. Again,
Hicks works himself back into the count here.
Again, they're sped him up.
And asking for time. I'm surprised we haven't seen that a little bit more from
We can
either
step
side,
aside
really.
and breathe with him.
Especially after this long AB. Right back on at the 2-2. Just another cue ball. McGee with Hicks covering for the second out.
An athletic play from McGee there to opt to take it back to the bag himself. But as the pitcher in Hicks' situation, you always want to run over to cover the bag just in case.
Bottom of the third inning today brought to you by Jimmy John's. Live from Jimmy John's Field once again, Jeremy Otto alongside Jason Ross Jr. to bring you the call. So glad you could tune in on this fine Sunday for some baseball. Get outside with your laptop, your tablet, or your phone, and maybe enjoy us on a blanket on the grass. Water your flowers.
There we go.
Do what you do in the late spring to early summer. Ron Williams Jr. 0 for 1 today. A fly ball to McKinley out and right. Here's the 1-0. Sharply hit but foul.
Most of his hits there, that one rolled foul, but most of his hits tend to be singles. Covers the bottom of the strike zone pretty well. Relatively low walk rate, or high walk rate, I should say, beg your pardon.
High chop. McGee reads it well, and for the second straight play, they will connect for outs 2 and 3 here in the third inning. 1-2-3 breeze besides the first battle with Matt Collins for Jackson Hicks. These two pitchers rolling along.
I'm all out of love for my old insurance. Switch to insurance. They're saving me so much. They covered my car and bundled with my home. I feel so secure to say I love insurance.
Hello, AAA Insurance.
Goodbye, insurance. Hello.
Insurance.
Get a quote and save up to 20%.
Dunham Sports is a proud partner of the USPBL. Big names, low prices, delivering value since 1937.
Jeremy and Jason back with you on Bark in the Park, presented by Happy Tales Learning Center for Dogs here today. It's the day of the pitcher, huh?
Oh, yeah, Jeremy. It's been fun to watch these two guys go to work. Interesting stories on both sides. Now I've got the T-shirt competition going here.
The biggest reaction we've seen so far here today.
Yeah.
Because this guy, Donovan, and the other man on the other side, Hicks, has done a really good job to limit the offense. Donovan challenged with one out in the third inning, the single by the bottom of the order in Adrian Guzman, but coaxed to fly out off the bat of Navarro and Smith, the top of the order, and just like that, he was out of another inning.
We'll see what McGee can do here in a crucial turnover spot of the lineup. Can he get you back to the top of the order?
Spencer McGee, Trevor McKinley, Trey Bigford, your Zach Hart agency men due up here in the fourth inning. And a bit of delay, not sure what that's about, but ready to go. There is no other action in the bullpens. We saw Cole Gidley get up. I'm not even sure that was him really warming up. Maybe just trying to stay loose. It was kind of a soft toss. First pitch at 73 down low. Mostly fastball, slurve, or curveball, whatever you want to call it. A little bit of the changeup for Charles Donovan here today. But these guys have been working so efficiently, they've really only needed two pitches. Hicks also with the splitter, but not sure we've seen much of that. It's sort of hard to differentiate that right now between the curve and the slur velocity-wise. But here's the 1-1 on the corner for strike two.
Bit more velocity range for Donovan as well in comparison to what we've seen out of Hicks.
1-2, pass the diving glove of Ron Williams Jr. Verdejo is going to get to it fairly quickly, so McGee going to have to stay at first base. Then off the bat at 88 into left field, sounding kind of left off the end of the bat as well. Trevor McKinley looking to get his bat going again. Has some pop certainly in this left-handed stick. Had a single yesterday. Also reached on an error and a 1-for-4 overall day. Now the 1-0. High at 84. Could that be the cutter? Hasn't really thrown much velocity-wise there today. His fastball has had a lot more giddy up than that. Here's the 2-0. That one at 82. Donovan said his cutter ranged around 83 to 85. It was something that he had worked on throughout his college season, but then sort of threw it away when it wasn't exactly working the way he wanted to, but trying to work on it again. What better place to do it than the USPBL?
Yeah. As a hitter here, you can think fastball with a 3-0 count because you know that Donovan needs something in the strike zone. You mentioned the pop in the bat of McKinley. This feels like an important pitch here with a runner at first and nobody on.
3-0 inside. First time that we've seen back-to-back base runners for Charles Donovan reach here today, and it has broken a fairly nice streak in the last couple innings of facing four or less, possibly. We'll see if he can turn it around with another double play. We've been seeing quite a few double dips so far this year, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. It's been fun to watch the twin killings, the middle infielders, and especially with the woolly mammoths. You mentioned Guzman, some of the plays that he's made so far. All about understanding the situation defensively, the pre-pitch mentality, how many runners are on, who's up to bat. There's constant adjustments taking place to make sure you can execute in situations like that.
First pitch to Trey Bigford in for strike one. He struck out looking back in the first inning. So maybe that fastball velocity has just been tailing off as the game has gone on, because that's another one at 83.5 according to the flight scope to our left.
Yesterday, both guys got to the fourth inning.
Shows the bunt. Off speed at 73, in for strike two.
And Tracy pitched 5 innings of scoreless. Well, I should say he allowed 1 earned run, but the efficiency, like you talked about, Jeremy. But then you wonder, where's the velocity as the outing begins to kind of move on?
Checks the runner at second base, comes home. The 0-2, checked it. Is it there? Not via the strike call, and neither is the swing. Runners on first and second to start this fourth inning. The meat of the order up right now. This is the 5-hole hitter. Noah Moore is your Zach Hart agency man on deck. The 1-2 again. Good job just to get a piece of that fastball in the inner third at 85, right on the handle.
Not mistaken, I believe the Mammoths left 7 on base yesterday. So here with 2 strikes, nobody out. Even if it's a borderline pitch, you want to try to battle.
Just got that one in and out of the glove of Austin Shoemaker. Throughout spring training, Charles Donovan felt pretty comfortable throwing to Austin. Looks like Cole Gidley going to get up and at least toss a bit. Here's the 1-2 again. Popped it up to center. Salea sees it carry a bit. Here's the first down, and everybody's going to hold.
And so we talked about kind of working the strike zone on the inside part and the outside part to avoid the barrel of the bat, lead to more fly ball contact, fly out contact than hard hit contact. And we've seen more of that more often than not so far over the past couple of days. Bigford had a nice simple swing on a 2-strike approach, but again ended up flying out.
So he's 0 for 2. Noah Moore trying to break his 0 for 1. That was a strikeout back in the second inning. The second baseman, Matt Collins, holding on McGee at second base. Farland playing behind the runner on first with 2 outs, and he being the trailing runner here. Outfielder's pretty straight up. Salea playing dead center. Just 395, just below the flagpole out there. Swing and a miss and an 85-mile-an-hour fastball. I think it's probably safe to say with the velocity tapering off that this is probably Donovan's last inning. Gidley continuing to warm down there. Here's the 1-1. Floats it foul. That breeze still blowing ever so slightly, but a 6-mile-an-hour clip, 68-degree day here today.
That flag just started to move a little bit.
Yeah, you can't really tell whether it's in or out. In the middle, those ones don't show much in left field, next to the Chevrolet Pavilion out there. That's a big pitch right here, the 1-2. Another tough foul for Noah Moore.
Likes to go inside to the righties with 2 strikes.
Noah, a guy that has some pop in his bat, 8 doubles and 9 home runs in the last 2 years at Medina University. The 1-2 again. Now they're spoiled. The slurve at 74, able to lift the hands out to reach that one back to the screen. Moore struck out back in the second inning on a 2-2 pitch. That was back-to-back strikeouts for Donovan, and what ended in striking out the side. Popped him up. Will this be enough for McFarland and Shoemaker? Not quite. And that's got to be an odd angle for a catcher as well, because you're used to, discarding the mask if that's something you do, and then looking up and moving left or right. But you got that little kind of meeting corner because the dugout juts out much farther than a normal one. But that design and why the dugouts are so far down the line was made with fans in mind, hoping that they would be right on top of the action. I mean, you can be in those seats over there and literally look right into the dugout. You're kind of even with them. 1-2, again fouled off.
Definitely something as a catcher, Jeremy, that you have to, like we talked yesterday, no one ballpark is the same. I think in the majors, just right off the top of my head here, the Minnesota Twins have a ballpark where the backstop tends to be a little bouncier than normal. So that's something that you have to work on, understanding the kicks, where you're ranging over if you do have to flip the mask off. So
1-2, fly ball to left center field. Salea got a great beat on it. Runners will tag again, but McGee will just bluff, and that's 2 outs. Great job by Donovan to finally retire Noah Moore, who put a good swing on it. Probably our longest at bat of the day.
Yeah.
Maybe of the season. It's up there.
That was a fun battle.
Joby on YouTube asks, does the pitcher have experience at first base? He's built more like a first baseman than a pitcher. Not quite sure. We'll have to check on that with Charles Donovan. Not sure he did, at least in college. Pitch to TK Kuntz is a swing and a miss. His pro debut at the plate ended in a strikeout back in the second inning, which completed the strikeout of the side for Charles. 0-1, swing and a miss.
I certainly can't discredit the athleticism of a pitcher. We've seen Hicks have to roam over a couple of times to try to cover first, and they're also dealing with elevation too. They have to get off the hill, and so it's not an easy position to field, and you're obviously closer to the batter than anyone else.
A big excitement jolt from Charles Donovan as he buries TK Kuntz, and for good reason. He allows the first 2 base runners to reach in this inning, but erases it the next 3 batters. Good stuff here on the USPBL Network.
Check your checking. If your account doesn't get you pumped, amped, or geeked, make the switch to Genius Checking from Genesis Credit Union. It's just genius.
First State Bank is a locally owned and operated business. We're part of your community. At fsbcares.com, you'll find ways that we're making a difference by featuring locally owned and operated businesses, providing access to helpful financial resources, and engaging with community. FSBcares.com is part of our commitment to the neighborhood, because strong neighbors mean stronger communities.
Where good neighbors do great things.
Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
You hear about the promo that Jimmy's John's got going on? 5 off 20? How they pulling it off? Magic? You got David's Copperfields in there? Show yourself, Copperfields!
Jimmy John's. $5 off orders of 20 or more.
Oh, this shot, labeled by our director, PJ Gradowski, is, quote, fans having fun. Doing the Shake It Off dance here today. There's a lot of dancers in the crowd today, huh? A lot bolder than I would be.
That's what you challenged me to earlier today. I'll keep it to my 5th inning singing.
Yeah, right. That's a gamely occurrence now. We're sorry.
Yeah.
For both,
apologies in advance.
For me, at least.
I may be a little more confident than I should be. That's the problem.
So Jackson Hicks out there for his 4th inning of work. He'll face the middle of the order here. I'm enthused to see what he does there, but much like Donovan, he's looked pretty good in this game. What do you think he's been doing well today, Jason?
Well, Jeremy, something I was looking at was a start he would get off to, because at the level that he's played at prior to this one, not knocking it, but we noted that it wasn't at the pro level. You think of all the little details that you have to think about runners on base? Are they going to try to time you up and steal a base? Because typically you might see teams bring a guy who hasn't pitched in a while out of the bullpen just to get their energy up, and because when you're warming up out of the bullpen, you can make mistakes and there's no cost, but you get that out of the way. As a starter, early on.
First pitch outside here to Roy Verdejo.
You want to make sure that you're locating your pitches for strikes and working to your stuff. He established his fastball early, I think, Jeremy. That was something that impressed me, too. We noted that it felt like every other pitch was above 90. Worked out of situations with runners in scoring position as well.
1-1 into the glove of McGee over at first base, and he hangs on.
It's a beautiful read off the bat and the extension. Just so athletic. We have seen some wonderful defensive plays, Jeremy. We've talked about the pitching, but can't forget about the fielding as well. I mean, whether it's in foul territory, that one would have been fair down the line. So may have saved extra bases there.
Jackson Hicks says, thank you. You got to have those plays, though, to have good pitching outings. That fastball, just about 90 miles an hour. He's hung around 90, 91 all day. Bigford cuts it off, guns it, showing his velocity himself over to Spencer McGee. 2 up and 2 down for Hicks.
Couple of pitches, couple of credits to the corner infielders.
There is no action in the Mammoths bullpen. So you got to think if Hicks gets them quickly here in the 4th, he might go out for the 5th inning here today in the 7-inning game. First pitch to Celaya outside. He had a strikeout back in the 2nd inning. Now the 1-0. On the ground weakly to Bigford. 2 plays in a row for him. Off the mark as McGee can't stretch out and get it. Well, he does, but has to be off the bag to do so.
That's why you always run hard up the line. Kind of almost slipped out of the batter's box, but kept up the effort. Put the ball in play. Good things happen. 2 outs here. See if you can get something cooking here with Trevor McFarland. Travis McFarland, beg your pardon.
McFarland with a single back in the 2nd inning. It got things brewing with a 1st and 3rd after a walk as well to Austin Shoemaker. Good play by Navarro at second base, though, on the steal and the throw from Horner. And then the strikeout to Rutledge ended the biggest threat that Hicks has seen today. Hugging the line and a fair ball into the corner in left field. Celaya hits the bag at second. Rounding to 3rd. He's going to hold up there, and that's a stand-up 2-bagger for Travis McFarland in a huge spot here in the 4th.
Really jumped on the first pitch and squeezed it inside the bag. Earlier in this inning, the Woolly Mammoths may have saved extra innings, but now with 2 outs, you got runners in scoring position, and Austin Shoemaker stepping to the plate.
Shoemaker has shown some good plate discipline in his first few at-bats of the season. 2 walks in 2 games. He had one back in the 2nd inning. One of the veterans of the USPBL, just an overall likable guy from what we hear from the coaching staff and other players. Identified certainly as the starting catcher coming into this year. They like what Michael Luker can bring. He's on the bench here today, but Ed Campanella told a really cool story about him. He said, hey, he blocked every ball, Luker that is, in spring training, and we're like, hey, where are we going to put him? We're going to put him at second base because he's got to be able to play the infield, and he played a pretty good second base the other day. 1-0 fastball, tailing at 90. 1-1. So that runner on second base will slow down the pace a bit for Jackson Hicks, second and third, I should say. 1-1 sneaks just off the plate inside. Shoemaker maybe trying to lean the elbow in a little bit there.
Just a little.
Slurve at 78. He's like, yeah, I won't mind if it hits me, maybe.
Wouldn't hurt too badly.
Back to the fastball, pours it inside, and now Shoemaker is way ahead. We have not seen many 3-ball counts by either pitcher here today. Hicks has a few more. His first here in the fourth, did not have one in the third. One in the second and one in the first. Here's the 3-1. In for strike two at 90 with the fastball. Everybody playing back here with 2 outs, just looking to hopefully get that runner at first base if you're a Woolly Mammoths fan here. Collier Rutledge on deck. Big pitch, the 3-2. In there for strike three. And a fist pump for Jackson Hicks. These two arms burying these hitters in huge situations. Big time baseball. We're still tied at 0 as we head to the 5th.
Whenever my family wants to enjoy the great outdoors, we pack up my Chevy Blazer and go camping in style. It looks great, and with the cargo management system, we can bring all the comforts of home away from home. Plus, with available 4G LTE Wi-Fi, the kids can still stay connected with friends. Thanks to my Blazer, roughing it isn't rough at all.
Lease a 2021 Blazer 2LT for just $219 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
We build roads, bridges, wind farms, and pipelines, schools to skyscrapers. Our members create monuments. We operate. We're the operators and mechanics behind the advanced heavy machines that move Michigan forward. We maintain boilers and HVAC. Our members run the complex heating and cooling systems that we all depend on. Our training is second to none, and safety is our priority. We are Operating Engineers 324, and we keep Michigan running.
Bark in the Park, presented by Happy Tales Learning Center for Dogs here today. And we will see Charles Donovan come out for a 5th inning here. Fastball velocity down a bit. If that was in fact the fastball, I can't really believe that he was throwing 5-6 cutters in a row. But it was peculiarly I'm not going to even try to say that again, but it was lower than what we had seen in the first 3 innings. He was more so sitting high 80s. Can get as high as 92. That's where he was clocked as latest as this year at Indiana Tech in his college season. But how about the emotion, by both of these guys getting 2 huge strikeouts. Charles Donovan going back to that one first in the top half of the 4th inning, allowed a leadoff single to Spencer McGee and a walk to Trevor McKinley, the very next batter, on 4 pitches. Was able to get the next 3, 2 contact outs on pop-outs and flyouts to center, and then the strikeout and an 0-2 pitch to TK Kuntz. And on the other end, kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, first 2 men retired by Jackson Hicks, line out, ground out. Celea reached on an error to the third baseman Bigford, and then the double by McFarland down the line, and a strikeout looking on a large battle on a 3-2 pitch to Austin Shoemaker. Colton Horner leads off. Adrian Guzman, your Zach Hart agency man, on deck here in the 5th, and Norberto Navarro will turn it back to the top of the lineup. He'll hit third.
And pitchers are competitive people, Jeremy, and it's fun to see that emotion on display. You'll hear the word competitive described a lot to describe a guy on the mound. And certainly both are in that mindset right now when you get runners in scoring position and snag a big strikeout, worthy of a little emotion.
And is so much so that some guys literally can't talk to them before their start.
Mm-hmm.
I think more often than not when you reach the major league level, that's the case. They're just so locked in, so laser focused on their game plan and just making sure they're ready. Three and one on Colton Horner, and he walks him.
Oh, it's interesting how different routines take place throughout the day for a starting pitcher. What the communication and preparation is like with your catcher. We talked yesterday about the conversations between pitcher and catcher. Those tend to vary from combo to combo.
I was talking before the game, one of the guys that deals with the pitchers a lot in this league, the director of baseball operations, Justin Orenduff, helped out by Shane McCanny, the pitching coordinator, as well. He said, no DVS tweaks quite yet for these guys. They just kind of want to observe. Maybe next week, but for sure, starting next week, they'll go through an arm care system. So that kind of logs, how do they feel after each outing? Is there any soreness? Is there any soreness in day 2, 3, 4, 5 in between starts? And then according to how that all goes, if they're regularly healthy, if they see quite a bit of arm soreness, and that might mean that they'll push them a day or two or sit them out a week and make sure everything's okay. And the soreness is also kind of an indicator, like maybe we have to make a few adjustments as well, and they'll do that. And we'll try to communicate all those throughout the season as well. That one dives in, low and in. Looked like another changeup from Charles Donovan, a pitch he's used a bit more in innings 2 through 5, especially in the last 2 here in the 4th and 5th. That one just going to find its way over the head of Keyshawn Lynch. So the same way the 4th inning started. We'll see how long they let it go.
That was a tough ball for Lynch to track back to. When you have 3 fielders converging like that, the priority goes to the outfielder, the center fielder in particular, but just kind of squeezed in between the 3 of them.
So now back to the top of the order, Norberto Navarro. Top of the order today has reached a combined 4 times in 6 ABs. Looking to squeak in a little drag bunt there, but lofted foul. You will not often, if ever, see a bunt sign from any of the managers in this league. They're all kind of on the same page, unless it's, in the playoffs or late in the game where it's clear. They want to get these hitters onto the next level, and bunting is not necessarily something that's going to get them noticed.
We talked about the balance of that the other day when the mentality of small ball played such a key role in the opening night win. And obviously, like you said, Jeremy, you're not going to get noticed by laying down a bunt, maybe not noticed by too many singles, but what leads to winning baseball is sometimes it's what you have to do. But also, at the end of the day, you do want to see some numbers for these guys that have a goal of advancing to the next level.
Waiting on the 0-1 with 2 runners on. Grooved in the slur for strike 2. So quickly 0-2 on Norberto Navarro here. On the corner for strike 3. Not been a extremely consistent call here today. I'd say earlier on it was in the first couple innings, but that's a big strikeout again for Charles Donovan. His 5th of the game, had 3 in the 2nd, 1 in the 4th, and 1 here in the 5th. And Jalen Smith will try to get it rolling for this offense. Somebody's got to score, right? We saw extra innings on opening day, just 1 extra because of the pitching situation. Ron Williams Jr. ranges over for out number 2. Easy contact there.
Jeremy, I noted 7 left on base yesterday, I believe, for the Woolly Mammoths. So something I would have added to my pregame keys is capitalizing with runners in scoring position. Now that becomes a little more difficult here with 2 outs.
Spencer McGee, 1 for 2 today. Single back in the 4th and reached on an error back in the 1st. Dips in a 79-mile-an-hour changeup there for strike 1. Been able to throw that change-up for strikes when he wants to. The 0-1. Slurve at 76. It's kind of backed off the fastball, it seems, a bit more here in the 5th inning. Maybe lost the feel a bit. Maybe that's why we saw the velocity dip in the 4th. 2 more big strikes to get to strand those leadoff runners on base on 1st and 2nd. Fly ball to left field. Verdejo was playing in. He lost it in the sun. Still going back to the track. He leaps, and it's gone! Spencer McGee lifts one deep to left, and just like that, it's 3-0 Mammoths. Johnny G, the public address announcer here at Jimmy John's Field, mentions that's the first home run of the year for anybody.
You talked about that in our pregame today, Jeremy. When would we see the hard contact? And it's cool to see that graphic up. Beautiful swing, delivered it to left field, and that was fun to watch.
And a frustrated Charles Donovan. You wonder, and you can't put the outright blame on Verdejo or anything in left field, but if he would have saw that ball all the way and didn't lose it in the sun, if he would have had a chance to reach over the wall and get it. Did you see how far it went?
Well, I didn't see, but you did note earlier in our broadcast, not a cloud in the sky today, so that sun is bright in left field.
Not a surprise that he had trouble tracking it down. 86-mile-an-hour fastball outside, and for Charles Donovan, almost spoils a really good outing here today in the 5th. There's still some positives to take from it, no doubt. And he was just a strike or 2 away from getting out of that inning again after allowing the first 2 runners to reach. Leadoff walks never help. Colton Horner doing that on a 3-1 count. Then the single by Guzman, strikeout, pop out, big time home run by Spencer McGee, the first of his professional career. Trevor McKinley walked on 4 pitches back in the 4th. Was looking to maybe do that again. Looks at strike 1. Fastball at 84. That might be the last batter there. And we hear that it was a 340-foot home run. So the line next to the foul pole is about 315. It was close to the pennants out there in terms of where it goes, and it starts to kind of cut towards center field. So maybe not. Maybe I think that's would have been a leap literally over the fence for Verdejo to catch that ball. That's it for Charles Donovan. The end line score won't tell the full story for him here today, but a big spot for Cole Gidley as he makes his USPBL debut when we get back here on the USPBL Network.
Stop me now. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time. Having a good time. A shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go. There's no stopping me. No stopping.
Cole Gidley taking over now for Charles Donovan here in the 5th inning. Spencer McGee has made this game 3-0 Mammoths after a 3-1 shot to left field. First home run of the USPBL season for anybody. And Gidley looking to finish things off right here and hopefully turn it over to his offense in the bottom of the 5th. So Cole Gidley, another interesting arm to track as the year goes on. Spent 1 year at Mott Community College. Native of St. John's, Michigan. Went to St. John's High School. He has a 2-seam, a 4-seam, a slider, a curve, and a circle change, so a pretty deep arsenal. It's been 1 full year since he's played a baseball game. Had a chance to work out for 3 to 4 months in the offseason at a facility indoors in Owasso, just outside of Lansing. The first batter he faces is Trey Bigford here. Everybody back on the infield with Trevor McKinley on first base. He walked to end Charles Donovan's day. First pitch from Gidley, the fastball at 88, high and in. Allows McKinley to take second base. A lot of spin on that one up. That was 2,300 on the spin rate. But you're ranging towards curveball territory when it comes to that type of number.
Yeah, it's the spin that causes the break on the pitch.
1-0 on the ground and past Keyshawn Lynch again. They're going to challenge the arm Verdejo, trying to hose him at home plate. Not so. Nice slide by Trevor McKinley to just move around Austin Shoemaker. And I think Shoemaker said, yeah, good job.
And sometimes the guy in the on-deck circle can help you out with where to slide as the throw is coming in, what adjustments to make.
He describes himself as the kid that was super talented but just didn't work hard enough in high school. He missed his first couple years of high school ball and then came back and was St. John's ace. First pitch to Noah Moore, a fastball low, 1-0. This is, I think, one of the longest innings we've seen so far this year. 8 batters looking to bat around. I think it actually is the longest. We've had a few 7s looking back at the trusty scorebook here. 1-0, fastball high at 89. Noah Moore today 0 for 2, strikeout and a flyout after a single and a walk performance yesterday. Here's the 2-0. Swing and a miss. Elevated fastball at 88. Noah Moore asking how exactly high was that pitch, I think. He's like, I shouldn't have swung.
Seeing more swings and misses, though, nowadays on pitches up in the zone like that one.
2-1, check to swing, and he did go, or it was a called strike at least. 2-2 on the designated hitter, and kind of on the backside of the plate, Trey Bigford was unnoticed, heading to third base. It's the last thing the Mammoths, or the last thing the Beavers want, is for the Mammoths to score a 5th run here in the 5th in a shortened 7-inning game. Here's a big 2-2 pitch from Gidley. Through the 5-hole of Shoemaker. Wow, what a tag in the end by Gidley to try to force something there, as it looked like they had no shot at getting Bigford. He does slide in safely, though. It's 5-zip Mammoths.
All 5 runs have come with 2 outs.
And a 3-2 count on Noah Moore. Designated hitter hitting in the 6-hole here today. The pitch. Just missed the corner with the fastball at 88. Shoemaker will take a quick visit to Cole Gidley. So Gidley, Cole Stanton, Amani Godfrey, and Edgar Cuevas are the other arms believed to be available today. Malik Barrington could maybe go, but they're hoping they don't have to throw him. A.J. Coleman, the last member of the pitching staff out of that group, is out, obviously, with his start the other day on Friday. It'll be the Diamond Hoppers and the Utica Unicorns tomorrow on Memorial Day. Another day that you can say, hey, that's a baseball day. Shoemaker going back and fans ducking to try to get that one. The baseball still loose under the seats below us. TK Kuntz 0 for 2. 2 strikeouts swinging so far today for the Mammoths center fielder. The fans around the young man that got the baseball cheering him on.
That's a good feeling.
And good to see more of that interaction at times, because there was literally like 100 people in the stands most of last year. People would talk to each other on opposite sides of the grandstands. And it was kind of funny to see. Gidley's move over to first. He's a guy that's looked to morph his arm slot a bit. Used to be pretty open. It's caused him to throw high often. He's moved his glove closer to his body. He's had trouble locating the fastball today. Most of them being high. That one, the 2-seam at 85. 2-1 on Kuntz. Lazy fly ball to right. LeBoy and Collins will converge. Collins trying to shade the sun at the last moment there. What an output, though, for the Mammoths. The best of any team so far this year in the USPBL. They bat around, score 5 runs. The big splash, the home run by Spencer McGee here in this inning. Well, here you go, Jason. It's our time again. Take me out to the ball game. Your 5th inning stretch is always brought to you by Genesis Credit Union here.
That's what people live for, Jeremy.
Or not. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back, for it's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Yeah, the Beavers saying, let's get some runs here in the bottom of the 5th inning, and the fans singing along to your Genesis Credit Union 5th inning stretch.
We were on sync there. I think
we were, and you kind of caught on to it quicker than I did, but those words scroll by a little bit slow.
And you have to catch up to it. It's like they're throwing a breaking ball at us.
We'll get the timing down.
Yes.
We'll get it. We've improved a lot since the first day, because we were off sync and we were going what the what the crowd was doing, because up on the video board, and the video wasn't quite in sync with us. We got a little better yesterday, and I guess even better today.
It's all about improvement. That's why baseball is an everyday game. Just keep going back at it.
Lynette Velasquez says, you announcers are great. We appreciate that.
Thank you, thank you.
Joby says, best one yet, great broadcasters. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Say hello to everybody watching here today. We want you to continue to send in your dog photos as well. You can send it in the chats on Facebook. I think it allows you to do that. Actually, maybe it doesn't. Taking a look here. Looks like you can just do an emoji and a sticker on the chat, and probably the same on YouTube. So you can use the hashtag JJDogs. Again, that's JJDOGS, JJDogs. Collier Rutledge, Matt Collins and Keyshawn Lynch, your Zach Hart agency 3 men due up here in the 5th inning. First pitch to Rutledge on the ground to Navarro. Rolled up his sleeve a bit, but collects it for out number 1. And as we were singing, we missed a pitching change. What are we doing? Pierce Smith.
Distractions.
Coming in for Jackson Hicks. It was quite the outing for Hicks, wasn't it?
Yes, it certainly was. To watch him, after there were question marks of how he might handle adversity at this level, come in and multiple times with runners in scoring position, find ways to wiggle his way out of trouble. The fastball was really fun to watch early on, but just looked really confident, and it was interesting to watch how quickly he works.
A 2-seam, a slider, and a change for Pierce Smith. So Jackson Hicks goes 4. A bit of trouble brewing in the second and fourth, but he was able to work out of it quite nicely. Collins slaps it to Guzman, and the best infielder in the league arguably creates the second out here.
Does so well to keep the ball in front of him and kind of instantly moving his direction towards the way he wants to throw it at first base.
Looks like Linda Ashman on Twitter has used that hashtag JJDogs. Says Sammy's rooting for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. USPBL for Bark in the Park. Good stuff. Meg Pohl. Looks like she's at the lake. How about that? Looks like the boat in the picture and the dog lounging in the water there. That's cool. So thanks, Meg, for chiming in and saying go Beavers. Kelsey on Twitter says Blanche says go Woolies here today. Little parade around the outfield. You can check that out at USPBL for the Dogs earlier as well. Not just JJ out there. JJ is reserved for the game, but you think he got a little jealous with everybody in the park tonight, or?
The attention needed to be spread around more than usual, but he still found a way to steal the show, as he usually does, because, again, he has the field pass. The other dogs don't.
Field collar?
Yes. His credential. I think he might be able to get in more places than we can.
Probably can, yeah.
Yeah.
Smith looking for a 1-2-3 inning. Got it! Justed off Keyshawn Lynch, the top of the order. Big-time pitching here today for both of these squads throughout the game. The Mammoths holding on to a 5-0 lead right here on the USPBL network. Oh, we're going to show some pictures of those dogs as discussed. Again, you can chime in with hashtag JJDogs. There's Lola, a pug. How about Lola? She's got even the Memorial Day gear on, huh? There's Blanche, as we talked about before, from Kelsey. And there's that lake picture, waiting at the edge of the sand there, it looks like. Maddie Lemaster, our fine producer, says some cute pups watching the game here today from home. There you go. I think Maddie also has a cat, so she's a big-time animal person there.
Shout out to the crew doing an awesome job again today.
So we'll see our second inning, full inning, here for Cole Gidley. Beavers in general hit around a little bit in the fifth. It didn't look like it was going to be all too bad. There were the first two runners reaching again against Charles Donovan via walk and single. That's Horner and Guzman. Then he struck out Navarro at the top of the order and got Smith to pop out. And the big-time 3-run homer to left by Spencer McGee. The walk to McKinley, the single, and an RBI for Trey Bigford, and the walk to Noah Moore was the end of the base-running parade. Pop out to the second baseman in the end for TK Kuntz. And that's why this game is 5-0. 5 runs off 5 hits and 1 error. No runs off 2 hits and 1 error on the other end. There's your Zach Hart agency 3-men due up here. Beavers kind of running out of time here in this 7-inning contest.
Down to their final 6 outs.
Here's the first pitch to Horner.
We've seen some late inning rallies, though, from the team that's been trailing so far in our brief sample size of action. Had extra innings on day 1.
Yep, Malik Blaze with the walk-off fielder's choice. You can check that highlight out on the archives on Facebook and YouTube and on @USPBL on Twitter as well. That was able to plate, or sorry, it was Hodo to drive in Blaze with the fielder's choice. Hodo, the international runner at second base in extra innings. And I confirmed with Justin Orenduff here today, likely, as long as we don't have, one of those pitching situations like we did, as it was predetermined as extra innings started, that game between the Beavers and the Unicorns was only going to go 1 extra inning. But like last year, they're going to do a max of 2, so a full 9 innings could be played and start that runner on second base in every inning for each offense. The 1-2, swing and a miss. Change up at 80 there for Cole Gidley. We told you it's a deep arsenal. 2-seam, 4-seam. 4-seam can get up to 91. The slider is something that he's been working on that he picked up lately. The curve and the circle change. Here's Adrian Guzman, a good day for a guy who's kind of defense first.
Just an invaluable asset defensively, and when he's contributing in the box, certainly an extra added bonus.
Yeah, a couple swings here today, just didn't try to do too much. Mm-hmm. Perfect area. It's snowing. Look at that.
I was going to say, there's the stuff that you hate. It's coming for us.
I was feeling it earlier today. The 0-1 pitch is a swing and a miss, a fastball at 93. So he goes 91, 92, 93 in this inning. Maybe the gun in the stadium a bit hot as the flight scope to our left says 92 with some major spin on that as well. Here's the 0-2 off the plate outside. Here's one that just came in.
Oh. Jeremy, I was watching a big weekend for the game of softball with the Super Regionals this weekend, Women's College World Series next weekend. Last week I was watching a game that Washington was playing in Seattle. They actually have cottonseed trees there.
Oh.
Literally looked like it was snowing the entire time. You need to avoid Seattle at all costs around this time of the year.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to mark that off the bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
Just rule it out right now, unless it's later in the year, right?
Yes.
We got to be past the spring rush of allergens. Here's the 2-2 to Guzman outside. There must be 1 or 2 in the outfield here because I was walking around the ballpark, as I like to do, just to get the legs loose before the game sometimes, and kind of along the outfield fence. I was running into the pillows,
It's like, oh, goodness. I just feel like there's a bug on me or something.
3-2, swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Cole Gidley. Nice turnaround here in the 6th, Jason.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is what you'd like to see to potentially set your offense up to spark what they'll hope is a rally, but certainly a high hurdle to climb here considering how good the Woolly Mammoths pitching has been so far today.
The wind's still blowing slightly in, according to both flags, the big American flag and the pennants in left and the Utica Unicorns championship banner out there. They were awarded their rings on Friday. Ever seen a USPBL championship ring? They're pretty nice.
Jeremy, I'll have to take a look. It's I did happen to see, I believe, a picture of the Unicorns ring last year, and it was cool to have that on opening night ceremony.
See the tail on that fastball? Goodness.
Yeah.
In there at 90 miles an hour and running away from this right-handed batter. Here's the 0-2. Swinging a tap foul, and that's going to hurt Navarro more than anyone there.
We talked earlier about the fact that a well-located fastball is probably the best pitch you can throw in baseball, and it gets in on you quickly as a hitter. It limits your timing. Might sound cliche, but when you add movements onto that, it becomes all the more challenging. And again, the 0-2 count here with 2 outs certainly has the pitcher in the driver's seat.
0-2 high. That one at 91. We've seen at its peak 93, at least in the ballpark. The 1-2. Trying to snap the curve.
Yeah. Interesting. You mentioned his wide array of pitches went to the curve that time. Slowed things down a bit.
At that venture, hard to tell whether it was exactly the curve of the slider, but we went with the curve. The 1-2 popped it up into the short outfield. Keyshawn Lynch ranging, battling the sun in those sunglasses, helping him out today. A great inning for Cole Gidley. He goes 1, 2, 3, shuts down the Mammoths. It's still 5-0. Woolly Mammoths in this one.
Piloting a hot air balloon is my wife's passion, and she couldn't have a better wingman than my Chevy Equinox. Its stylish design rises above the rest, and with its 4G LTE Wi-Fi plus great gas mileage, Equinox keeps us connected mile after mile. With my Equinox, the sky isn't the limit.
Lease a 2021 Equinox LT for just $189 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. Visit ChevyDetroit.com.
You hear about the promo that Jimmy's John's got going on? 5 off 20? How they pulling it off? Magic? You got David's Copperfields in there? Show yourself, Copperfields!
Jimmy John's. $5 off orders of 20 or more.
Welcome back to Jimmy John's Field, where you can enter for a chance to win $250 and 4 front row tickets to the championship game this year in the USPBL in September. Text Chevy Detroit to 555-888. Again, that's Chevy Detroit to 555-888. You can visit ChevyDetroit.com/USPBL for official rules. Why wouldn't you get in on that, right?
I certainly would like to step my foot into that pool.
So the Mammoths trying to hold this lead right where it is here in the bottom of inning number 6. Ron Williams Jr., Roy Verdejo, and Christian LeBoy, your Zach Hart Agency 3-men duo up. Michael Luker and Dallas Binder still waiting on the bench for a possible chance at a pinch hit situation here. It's not that the Beavers haven't had traffic on the base pass, but Pierce Smith and Hicks have really, I guess, Pierce Smith wasn't part of that because he had a 1-2-3 frame back in the 5th, but these pitchers have done a really nice job. Smith came in for Jackson Hicks in the 5th inning. Got a pair of ground outs to the middle of the infield and struck out Keyshawn Lynch, the top of the order. Here's the 0-1 to the fellow lefty, in for strike 2. Everybody at normal depth and spread out in the infield. Williams Jr. checks his swing and a offering on the outside.
That's a good pitch on an 0-2 count just to kind of expand the strike zone a bit.
One, two, got him. Williams Jr. not happy with that strikeout call. But again, the K's racking up in this game for both of the two teams.
Which is different than yesterday, especially on the Woolly Mammoth side. One of the interesting stats that jumped out to us was the fact they only struck out once in the entirety of yesterday's game. Credit that to the arsenal of Ty Tracy and the fact that he isn't a big strikeout guy but gets his work done in other ways.
Popped him up on the first pitch here. Navarro and Guzman shading the sun. Boy, did Navarro see it? Or he just saw that Guzman saw it. He was trying to watch him catch the ball.
You can see the reflection in their sunglasses today. It's kind of the art of using the glove to shield it a bit in both left and right field and center field. on a cloudless day.
Can say that again. Even the ones that are, you can see just a few, literally probably above Hall Road to our right. We'll have some of the billboards off in the distance here at Jimmy John's Field. The 0-1. Ripped, just hugging the line. Bigford with a nice play, but can't get it over there in time. LeBoy likely credited with an infield single there on the changeup golf down the third base line.
And did well to stay on that pitch. And when you see a breaking ball coming in, there's almost a little pause prior to the swing. You stayed on top of it there. I was able to do just enough. Allowed him to use his speed to beat out the throw.
Elijah Salea, the same walk-up song as Jacoby Jones here locally. Recently sent down from the Tigers to AAA Toledo, calling back up Victor Reyes.
Yeah, it's been kind of a revolving door in center field, trying to figure out someone who can find a groove offensively for the Tigers and play center field. Reyes and Jones have both struggled at the plate.
Tigers looking for the sweep today, though, against the Yankees.
Surprising.
Another nice 6-1 win, and they're up 6-0 today in the end of the fifth. Goodness. Here's the 0-2 high. Tarek Skubal, 5 innings of work so far, just 2 hit baseball, 3 walks, and
how many strikeouts?
7 strikeouts.
Strikeout numbers are high with Skubal.
Pair of RBIs so far for Mazar, a couple walks for Zach Short. It looks like a 3 RBI hit for Willie Castro. Boy, has he turned it on.
Yeah.
Here's the 2-2. Shoemaker, or check that Horner trying to frame that one back in. It's Colin Ledbetter heating up for the Mammoths.
I was going to say, we've talked about today kind of finding your spots with your pitches and locating in areas that are away from the barrel of the bat. Those strikeout numbers, as we get on there with Tarek Skubal, they're up, but he has power numbers that are relatively high as well. But when he's locating, that's when he has success, and we've seen that today from both guys.
Pierce Smith looking good. Just 1 hit through 2 innings of work out of the pen.
We're for people, the pioneers, the underdogs, the players, and the slow and steadies. We're for people, for who they are and who they could become. Yes, we're a bank, and some say our business is all about money, but that's an old idea. Because look past the money, and you'll see real human lives. We see it, because we're for people. Huntington, welcome.
Five-0 lead for the Westside Woolly Mammoths here today. The last chance to add to that lead is right here. They'll have Jalen Smith, Spencer McGee, and Trevor McKinley batting here in the 7th. Your Zach Hart Agency 3 men due up, and a new pitcher is Edgar Cuevas here today. Cuevas takes over for Gidley, who struck out 2 in the 6th inning. His stuff looked really sharp, didn't it, Jason?
It certainly did, Jeremy. And all around, it's been fun to watch today as now Cuevas comes in. And we'll see if he can, again, try to set up a last gasp in the bottom of the 7th.
Coming out of the University of Oklahoma Science and Arts, also saw some time at a really talented NAI team in Florida Southeastern.
Yeah, one of, I believe, 5 different guys out of the University of Arts and Sciences of Oklahoma competing on opening weekend rosters.
Adam De La Cruz of the Hoppers, also a guy who played at Southeastern. That's a team now that has kind of made it a tradition to play the Detroit Tigers in their first game of spring training. Kind of unofficially, I guess. Cuevas, fastball, changeup, slider guy. His changeup is his out pitch. Like a lot of guys in this league, just trying to polish all his stuff and possibly move on. Jalen Smith today is 0 for 3. Did reach on a fielder's choice back in the first inning. His last 2 at-bats, a line out and a pop-out. Those in the 3rd and 5th.
And just a few weeks ago, Cuevas was coming out of the bullpen for the University of Arts and Sciences of Oklahoma in their closer role. A conference championship win.
1-0 fastball at 88 by him. We talked about kind of the connection in schools with Adam De La Cruz, and they actually grew up together in the Bronx.
Yeah, Cuevas is a well-traveled guy. New York, Oklahoma, also pitched in the Western Canadian Baseball League.
Tapped foul. There's a lot of family connections to baseball with him as well. His dad played in A-ball with the Giants. His uncle played for the Padres in A-ball. His godfather, Adonis Harrison, played 13 years with the Mariners organization, and his cousin, Junior Perez, with the A's currently. So that's some big-time bloodlines. Here's the 1-2. At 88, chopped foul, but rolled fair, and nobody's going to run here, and Travis McFarland is it going to complete the out here? Don't often see that. Looked like a for sure foul ball, just kind of whittled down the third base line, spun back, and Jalen Smith probably biting himself he didn't run because with his speed he might have beat it out.
We talked earlier in the broadcast about just always running hard up that first base line because you never know what might happen when you put the ball in play. The big bat and Spencer McGee.
First pitch outside, 3-run home run to left in the 5th.
Yeah, with 2 outs, sparked what turned out to be a 5-run 5th, all of which came with 2 outs.
His second single of the year as well in the 4th, reached second base. 1-0 right back at him. And the stretching play by Collins isn't enough, and McGee will get an infield single. He deserves it today, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's seeing the ball well today. That home run came on a 1-1 pitch. Times that particular pitch up well and just smacked it up the middle. A bit too much ground to make up for there for the infielder, and now another base hit for McGee.
Trevor McKinley has had a very patient start to the year. A pair of walks. Back-to-back nearly 4-pitch walks. He had that in the 4th. Took a 3-1 walk in the 5th and came around to score on that home run by McGee. Or check that. That was on the RBI single by Bigford. A couple batters later. Cuevas ready with the 1-0. Here it comes. Low and in. Good block by Austin Shoemaker. The change up there. Here's the 2-0. Fastball at 88 for strike 1. Ed didn't get a good chance to throw a lot of pitches in spring training. Got in a bit later. So a couple bullpens on the side, and this, I believe, his first game action. keeping McGee close, the 2-1. Change up again at 82. Change up anywhere 78 to 82. The slider around 78 to 82 as well, actually. Fastball can top out at 92.
It's a good 13 miles per hour of velocity range that he can showcase.
The even pitch inside going to allow McGee to prance to second base. And again, another battle of an at-bat. Even these guys that have gotten down to 2 strikes. That's where some of the better at-bats we've seen so far have come.
Yeah, we talked about the mentality in pregame today of with 2 strikes, not letting the umpire decide your fate if it's a borderline pitch and fight it off. This is a
full count delivery, roped but foul.
More of a kind of square traditional stance here from McKinley, and made some hard contact there, but foul.
Looks like he broke the lumber as well.
Yeah, it was a violent swing.
It's a sharp-looking bat.
It is.
Black barrel with the red stretching down near the handle. Looks like it goes all the way. Just got the tape on there. Runner on second base with 1 out. That was Jalen Smith on the ground ball to start this inning. Waiting in another 3-2. Here we go. Same results, except the bat. Lynette Velasquez says, yes, history made for women's college softball, broadcasting on ABC.
There we go.
Cool stuff.
I believe it was Washington, Oklahoma on ABC yesterday.
Very
really
cool.
good. First time ever the game has been on ABC, game of softball at the college level.
Off the glove of Shoemaker. And Smith is going to take, or check that McGee is going to take the long turn with this extensive backstop. Shoemaker did a good job to immediately bolt over to make sure he didn't take home. And that's the 3rd walk in a row for Trevor McKinley.
He's trying to regain his control here.
That's actually A.J. Coleman going out there to have that conversation with Ed Cuevas.
That's interesting. Coleman's one of the second-year guys, really good leader.
We saw that almost exclusively in the last month or so of the season from Ty Hensley of the Unicorns last year. And why not for a guy who's been through the gamut in terms of DVS and knowing exactly, I'm sure, what Justin Orenduff wants of the staff. A.J. Coleman kind of along the same road. Big, hefty swing by Bigford. He misses.
He's also been in this scenario himself, and maybe the ear of someone who is wearing the same uniform as you, a little different.
Here's the 0-1. Looped. Good glove by Ed. Feeds to second in time, over to first. You betcha. 1-6-3. You don't often see that much these days. McKinley out at second base for the second out, and Bigford deposited down at first. Last chance for this Beaver squad when we get back.
They call me Prospects. Since the day I was born as a diver's watch, the challengers of the world have taught me many things. Life is not a numbers game. It's about challenging ourselves. No matter what happens, just follow your heart. These pioneers drive our generation forward. Not by setting records, but by never giving up. Keep going forward. Prospects.
Available at Lucido Fine Jewelry.
I'm all out of love for my old insurance. switched to insurance. They're saving me so much. They covered my car and bundled with my home. I feel so secure to say I love insurance.
Hello, AAA Insurance.
Goodbye, insurance. Hello.
Insurance.
Get a quote and save up to 20%.
Colin Ledbetter, who was tuning up in that 6th inning as Pierce Smith was working another pretty good frame, is coming in now and trying to close things out for the Mammoths with a 5-0 lead. Quietly good outing for Pierce Smith. 1, 2, 3 in the 5th. Ground ball, strikeout. One base runner in the 6th. That was a 2-out single after a strikeout and a pop-out. And then another strikeout to Celaya. So that's an arm to look out for as the year goes on. After the game, Jason will catch up with our player of the game in our Auto Lab post-game show. I think there's one guy leading, but it's pretty obvious. Spencer McGee, huh?
Yes, he might be a candidate for the interview.
Unless something really drastically shifts here in the 7th inning, the Beavers are going to have to really get this offense going for that to be the case.
We have seen, again, some late rallies, dramatic 7th innings so far through 2 games. But the Beavers have their hands full here.
Just in case, they do have Cole Stanton throwing. We saw him throw an inning on opening day. He was the last pitcher that came in. He ended up going 3 innings as a reliever in extra innings. Malik Barrington took over for 1, struck out 2, allowed a single and a flyout. Barrington most likely unavailable here today unless he's really needed. First pitch from Ledbetter, slings inside at 93. Ledbetter has a sinker, a slider, and a circle change. Really wants to work on the control with that change-up. Has a goal of getting his fastball velocity up to 95. If he does that, he's going to be right up there with some of the best throwers in the league in terms of velocity. We saw Adrian Cook touch 94, 95 last night. McFarland today, 2 for 2 with a single and a double as he stares 92 into the glove that time, 3-0. That's not the way that Ledbetter wanted to start here.
Gonna feel similar to the last 2 days when it comes to the 7th inning. Guys getting in trouble.
Ouch.
I got a 4-pitch walk.
Did it hit him?
I believe it did hit him, yeah.
McFarland took it like a champ. Fastball at 93. And that's another fastball that's tailing towards the inner half. Spin of 2,200. It's above the major league average for a fastball.
Control issues creeping in here to both bullpens.
No action in the Mammoths pen. Kyle Luger is somebody we know that is out today. We've already seen Pierce Smith, Donovan Thacker out as well with the start yesterday. Greg Luukkonen could be available if need be. First pitch to Shoemaker is a swing and a miss. And actually this is Michael Luker pinch hitting. So fresh off the bench, here's the 0-1. Some nasty, jolting movement to that one, but he watches it to the glove outside on the slider. Righty and righty, the 1-1. High at 92, in his own words, of Ledbetter, that is. Circle change, not his favorite pitch, just working on it. He's changed the grip a couple times. And you'll often hear that. The changeup is one of the harder pitches to master for pitchers who have not thrown it consistently in their career. 2-1, tried to check his swing on the nasty wipeout slider, just couldn't.
And when you can complement the changeup effectively with a fastball, that can really be deceptive to a hitter. When it comes to the high velocity of your fastball, then drop it down to the changeup and hoping that pitch comes out of the same arm slot. That's what creates the deceptiveness from the hitter's perspective.
McFarland tight over at first base with his lead. That's going to go towards him as McGee ranges off the bag for out number 1. So 2 away from the Westside Woolly Mammoths is their first victory of the season, and that's got to feel pretty good. I mean, it's a new coaching staff. It's almost a brand new roster as well. But this is a Mammoths team that really, really scuffled towards the end of the year last year. Or towards the beginning of the year, I should say. They picked it up as the year went on. First pitch to Collier Rutledge. Again, just couldn't lay off the biting slider at 81 for strike 1. The 0-1 in for strike 2. Another slider at 81. Colin Ledbetter, a guy that's familiar with a lot of the players in this league because he faced him at one point or another in his NAI career at Campbellsville. Started at Glendale Community College, traveled to Indiana Wesleyan to play in 17-19, and then finished his career collegiately at Campbellsville. Here's the 1-2, high and away, and he really didn't have a lot of pro opportunities coming out of college. Trained nearly all of last year at a facility called Pro X with Jay Larry's, a guy that coached Lance Lynn at the high school level. 2-2, whittled foul. And he's also had the chance to work out with Carlos Rodon, the fine pitcher for the White Sox, and he said that's where his slider grip came from, and showing that that's a big-time adjustment for him here today. This looked great. Said he played catch every day for him. In a 2-month stretch. 2-2, there it is.
Yeah. You could see the break on that pitch.
So there's the second out with the leadoff runner on first base after the what could have been a 4-pitch walk, but it was a hit-by pitch in the end. Matt Collins, the bottom of the lineup up here. He's 0 for 2 today with a strikeout swinging in the third and a ground out to the shortstop Guzman back in the 5th. First pitch to Collins, fastball at 93, in for strike 1. Loop to right, and that is just going to cue its way into the corner near JJ's doghouse down there. I'm not sure McFarland saw how far away Trevor McKinley and Navarro were away from that baseball. He probably could have took third, but instead it's first and second with 2 outs here. Now they turn it back to the top of the lineup, and Keyshawn Lynch trying to break his 0 for 2 today. Had a walk back in the first inning. 5-0 Westside Woolly Mammoths here. 2 outs. in the bottom of the 7th inning. It's been all them offensively in terms of runs, but the Beavers are catching up in terms of hits at 6-4. Slider at 79. Dipsy doos its way in for strike one. Ledbetter, a guy who's been both a starter and reliever. He looks pretty good in this role right now, though. I'd keep him here. Here's the 0-1. Fastball at 94 inside. One of his best here today. And keep in mind, that's a two-seam fastball and more so a sinker. That's dashing its way up there at 93, 94. Higher than where he was coming into play in the USPBL as well. Slider for strike two, so now he's one pitch away from cementing a Mammoths victory in this one. That luminous lean in for Ledbetter comes set. Here he comes. High and in at 92. That one a bit more straight comparatively, but not much so in terms of the numbers. Still above average spin on it. Checks that runner at second base. The even pitch now. What are you cooking? Says Ledbetter to Keyshawn Lynch. We all wish you the best if you've got your barbecues going today or tomorrow. Always a nice weekend to do so, kind of paired with July 4th. We'll kind of be here before we know it. We'd love to see you at the ballpark tomorrow on Memorial Day. And love to see you next week when things open up completely here. 3-2, nasty wipeout slider to put a cap on this game. He strikes out two and strands two here in the 7th inning. He faces 6 through 1, gives up a hit by pitch and a single, but that's it against Colin Ledbetter. Great job by Jackson Hicks, Pierce Smith, and Colin Ledbetter all put together as they play the Woolly Mammoths victory song in the stadium. We're on a roll. We're number one, it says. Try to get some of those songs for you on the broadcast as the season goes on as well. Always feels good to have a handshake line. If you're the team on that end, it's a great day for baseball here today as well. 68 degrees, sun-soaked, and we're glad you tuned in. But still more after this. Jason Ross Jr. will catch up with our player of the game in our Auto Lab post-game show. Stick around for that.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council.
I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our
credit union is all in with CUNA Councils.
You hear about the promo that Jimmy's John's got going on? 5 off 20? How they pulling it off? Magic? You got David's Copperfields in there? Show yourself, Copperfields!
Jimmy John's. $5 off orders of 20 or more.
Piloting a hot air balloon is my wife's passion, and she couldn't have a better wingman than my Chevy Equinox. Its stylish design rises above the rest, and with its 4G LTE Wi-Fi plus great gas mileage, Equinox keeps us connected mile after mile. With my Equinox, the sky isn't the limit.
Lease a 2021 Equinox LT for just $189 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. Visit ChevyDetroit.com.
The Carpet Guys give you warehouse direct pricing and customer service that will knock your socks off.
Now at the Carpet Guys, you can get 4 years interest-free financing. Plus, we're taking extra precautions to ensure the safety of our customers.
Let the Carpet Guys bring the store to your door with prices that will knock your socks off. Be wise and call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS. Locally owned and supporting Michigan families.
Be wise, call the Carpet Guys at 855-4MY-GUYS. Stop me now. Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time. Having a good time. A shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go. There's no stopping me. No stopping.
Make your move with a quick and easy mortgage from Genesis Credit Union. We have mortgages to fit your life. Genesis Credit Union. Visit us today.
Hello. Lovely home, by the way, but it looks like you could use some new flooring.
Now at the Carpet Guys, you get 4 years interest-free financing. Plus, we're taking extra precautions to ensure the safety of our customers.
Be wise and call the Carpet Guys.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council.
I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our
credit union is all in with CUNA Councils.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
I'm all out of love for my old insurance. Switch to insurance. They're saving me so much. They covered my car and bundled with my home. I feel so secure. Just say I love insurance.
Hello, AAA Insurance.
Goodbye, insurance. Hello.
Insurance.
Get a quote and save up to 20%.
Dunham Sports is a proud partner of the USPBL. Big names, low prices, delivering value since 1937.
I'm all out of love for my old insurance. Switch to insurance. They're saving me so much. They covered my car and bundled with my home. I feel so secure to say I love insurance.
Hello, AAA Insurance.
Goodbye, insurance. Hello.
Insurance.
Get a quote and save up to 20%.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
Alongside Woolly Mammoths first baseman Spencer McGee after a 5-0 win over the Beavers today. Spencer, your home run, 340 feet to left field, bottom of the fifth inning of what at one point was a scoreless game until you made it a 3-0 game. What was going through your mind when you saw that 1-1 pitch?
Definitely just hit a fastball. He started me off with 2 off-speed pitches. I just guessed right.
And Spencer, at that point in the game, 2 outs. That sparked a rally that turned out to be a 5-run fifth inning, again, all of which came with 2 outs. How would you describe the feeling in the dugout at that particular point in the game?
The Mammoths are an electric team. We got a lot of talented players, if you guys have seen the last 2 games. And when something like that happens, it doesn't even matter what team you're on, there's going to be a spark. So, but I'm glad it was with these guys.
And there's so many cool stories throughout this league. You mentioned some of your teammates there, the energy that goes about it. Right-hander Jackson Hicks made the start today. It was his first professional start, your first professional home run today. What did you like out of Jackson's start?
Well, Jackson is a mountain of a person, and he pulls the heater straight down. He's got good velo, good spin. So I'm really excited to see what he's capable of this season.
And Spencer, any more goals for you moving forward over these next couple of weeks?
Just keep hitting the ball, keep it simple, and play the game.
Love it. Thanks so much for joining us today, Spencer. We really appreciate your time, and congrats on the win again. That's Spencer McGee after a 5-0 Woolly Mammoths win.